Hello my creative friend, Olga Sobi here, and welcome to new fluid art creation process. And today's painting is gonna be very interesting for me because the color palette is gonna be super minimal, like much more minimal than what I usually do. My color split is gonna be black and gray, and the flow is gonna be white with some pops of copperish metallic color. How awesome is that? That literally didn't work. So what I want to achieve here today, I want to create painting that would have minimal colors but lots of contrast, and I want it to be very elegant and sophisticated, and of course the metallic colors will make some brighter accents throughout the piece. I am up for a challenge, so let's see how it turns out. And by the way, welcome back to my new art studio. So yeah, let's see how it turns out, and with that said, let's get started. My secret message today is timeless, because I think such aesthetic, such color palette is really timeless beauty. And I wrote it in this direction because this is gonna be the layout of the painting. It's gonna be portrait, but we'll have to manage working on it this way. But without further ado, let's start layering those colors. To be exact, my black and my gray, they're not 100% black and gray. So because I'm gonna be working with copperish, with a little bit of gold metallic, I want my negative space colors to have a little bit of that undertone. So I have added some of orange color inside of my black and inside of my gray. So this gray is very warm gray. And it's not gonna be super visible when I'm gonna be creating color split, but when I'm gonna blow white into those colors, inside of the white you will see the undertones of this warm color. I think it will work much better this way, but of course we shall see. So I'm gonna start layering. Yeah, so entire top section is gonna be this black. Well, technically it's brown, but I'm gonna call it black because it's almost black. And I have pre-painted sides of my canvas with black, like all around, because when I was initially planning this painting, I kind of thought the entire piece is gonna be, the entire negative space is gonna be black, but then I changed my mind and I didn't really feel like repainting the sides, so I will touch them up after they dry. Okay, so that was this part, and now let's add the gray. I have literally never worked with larger sections of gray in my paintings. Like, I would use neutrals here and there, of course, but not like this. And today, I don't know, I just felt like trying something new, you know, new space, new creative juices flowing, and I want to try different color combinations. And I'm really challenging myself to go more minimal because I do use a lot of colors, and it's not a wrong thing. There is no right or wrong in art. But for me personally, at this stage of my journey, I'm exploring more minimal color palettes. I mean, let's see where this is gonna take me. And it also really depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something minimal, subtle, elegant, and sometimes it's all about bold, bright colors. So I try to follow my intuition in this big time. I don't know if you can see, but this gray, it has such a nice warm feel to it. And my colors, all of my fluid acrylics are mixed to pretty thin consistency. Like, I like to work with thin consistency pretty much for all of my paintings. And I have been receiving so many questions about consistency, and I have created acrylic pouring consistency cheat sheet and masterclass where I explain and answer all of the questions I was asked about this topic, like what's the consistency right for different techniques, how to test consistency, why choose one consistency over the other, and just everything about it. So if you would like to access this masterclass, it's available on my website. I will include the link for you in the description. I highly recommend you check it out if consistency has been something a bit challenging for you. Okay, so my color split base is done for the most part. I think I might blow it out a little more, but I want to move on to my white and other colors. So I do have the idea for my layout for white and for blowouts. I want it to be single flow but sort of fanning out towards the sides. And it doesn't look like I have a lot of white right now, but once I start blowing it out, it will really get wider and expand. And it's something to always keep in mind with fluid acrylic pouring techniques for the most part, and especially with blowing techniques, is that A, consistency is super important, but B, you need to kind of reverse engineer what you want to achieve. And if you want to have wider flow, you really need to add more narrow lines of colors, because when you start blowing out, it will take more room. And if you want to keep some of that negative space, so you need to account for that. There's no really math like how much it will expand. It really depends on how many colors you use and your blow dryer. But this is just something for you to keep in mind. For my metallics, so the main metallic here, it's kind of copperish / bronzish color. I mixed it from scratch myself. I mix like copper, bronze and gold, so it really has all three metallics in here. So this is going to be the main one. I don't want to overuse it, but at the same time I want to have quite a bit. This one here, it's the same combination of three metallics, bronze, metallic, copper, but this one has a little more copper. So this one is a little more orangey. So the first one was a bit more yellowish. Okay. And this color here is a mix of this metallic, the last one, and white paint. So basically it's creamy tint of these metallics. I think it will be a nice transition between my white and metallics, and I think it'll just help me diversify the color palette while still staying in that very, very limited range. Okay, so for my dark, I want to add this dark black brown color inside of the white, just in a few areas. And if you ever wonder how much paint you need to cover your size of canvas, and I think it's especially important when you move it, scaling up to larger canvases, I have acrylic pouring calculator. It's a tool where you basically enter size of your canvas and it shows you how many fluid ounces or milliliters of fluid paint you need to cover that size of canvas. It's very helpful. I also suggest to check it out. I use it almost for every single painting. I do mix paint most of the time, like in batches. So I would mix extra, not just enough to cover the canvas, but still it's very helpful when you're preparing and planning out. I'm gonna get right to it. to say, I am impressed with this color palette. Of course, I planned it out and I was hoping it will be good, but I did have a little bit of hesitation. And you can see, well, I do hope you can see, I hope camera shows it, where my white blended into black and even into gray. The color that it produced, it's not really gray, it's like this brownish, reddish, I don't even know how to describe it. It's warmer, very warm gray brown color, and I think it's so pretty. It's very subtle. It's not like screaming red. It's very subtle, but it's just so much cooler than just gray. And of course, there's pops of cells everywhere. It's also working out amazing. I'm gonna bring my table down. I need to assess the composition. I feel like I want to expand this top a little bit, and yeah, we'll go from there. But so far, I'm really happy. I know it's not the first time I'm mentioning this, but how awesome is that? I am so happy to have this type of table now. Oh my God, I can't even describe it. I've been dreaming about it for years. It's looking really good. It's not 100% balanced in a few areas. For example, I want to bring it up here a little bit. This area right here, it got kind of, I don't know, smudged almost, but I will fix it when I'm gonna do the finger swipes. I need to make sure I stretch it out. This is really beautiful. Like some feathering, you know, and transparency. So see that I need to add more paint in here. It's really coming together. Two areas that sort of jump at me. So first of all, this dark spot, it's not wrong, but it's the only one really dark area inside of my gray. So I think I need to either remove it or add another one. I think I'm gonna actually add it because I do like it. It helps me balance out that part. So I think I'm just gonna add like literally a little bit right here. And another area, this one is a bit bigger change. I do feel like I want to expand towards this side much more. Like I want to really increase my white area that way. I think it will be much more balanced this way. Yeah. That literally didn't work. Completely blended in. I'll need to do it again. I think it's definitely much more balanced now as I brought more weight here and here. It's, you know, I like it a lot. So there are two more things that I want to do. First thing is finger swipe to really bring in and connect some of the elements of the composition. And the second thing, yeah, I think I'll share it later after it's dry because it's going to be next step of the creation. So let's do that finger swiping and we'll be ready to proceed to the next step. I am in love. You know, this little like area just keeps bothering me. I think I'm gonna carefully dip it out. Okay, I think I could bring my table up for that. I'm still getting used to this option, okay? I'm still like, sometimes forget how amazing I have it now. Awesome. So I'm ready to see how it dries and add one more special touch. So we'll see you in a second. The painting is dry, and by the way, I did a few more blowouts after I turned off the camera, so it has a little more action going on inside of the gray negative space from what you've seen last. So now I want to do some spraying to add beautiful glow to this painting. But before I do that, I need to mask out those parts, those elements of the flow that I want to remain untouched. So I need to mask them out, and for step number 1, I use regular masking tape to approximately cover the areas, the large areas, before I add any more details. After the tape, step number 2, I use masking fluid to mask out the details and cover the exact shapes of my flow and the design. So masking tape is good to quickly cover large areas, but it's hard to be precise with it. And on the other hand, masking fluid is absolutely perfect for that. You can see that I apply it with brush and I follow all the lines and shapes and little details that I have in the design, and the goal is to protect those areas because I want them to remain untouched, uncovered, so I'm masking them out, and this masking fluid is helping me to be very, very precise with the process. And if you would like to learn more about masking fluid product, how to use it, when to use it, etc., check out a new article on my website called 7 Extraordinary Supplies to Level Up Your Fluid Paintings. I share some really neat supplies and ideas in that article, and I hope you will find it insightful and inspiring. Once the masking fluid is dry, and it takes approximately 30 minutes for that, the next step. And this is the important one. I am going to use metallic spray paints. And if you decide to do this technique as well, make sure to wear appropriate PPE, such as respirator, goggles, and gloves. So for my spraying, I'm gonna use 2 colors, copper and gold, to create a color that is close to the metallic that I used inside of my fluid pour painting. And if you would like to learn more about spray paint brands that I use and recommend, some tips on using it, I have all the information about it in the same article, in the 7 Extraordinary Supplies to Level Up Your Fluid Paintings, so make sure to check it out. There are some interesting ideas there for you. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's see how it turned out. For that, I very, very carefully remove tape together with the dry masking fluid. You can see it comes off all together. Sometimes it comes as one piece, sometimes you need to rub it off a little bit, but it reveals those untouched areas of the painting. And oh my God, this is so exciting. Always a very satisfying moment for me to open those masked areas. And once the spray is dry, I decided to add just a few more final touches with my brushes. There are a few lines that I want to extend, as well as a few more areas where I want to add just a bit more metallic accents, so it's a little bit more balanced with my glow and with metallics that are inside. And honestly, this painting is truly glowing. So for all these additional details, such as spray painting and adding details with brush, you need to make sure that your initial layer, so your fluid painting, is completely dry before you add any more layers on top. Okay, it's really coming together. Keep watching to see the final reveal. And check it out! I used two types of varnish again, matte for negative space and glossy for the main flow. And I know that so many of you are very much looking forward to my varnishing course to learn this and other varnishing techniques and how to professionally finish your paintings. And I'm very sorry for the delay with it. It got a bit postponed due to relocation, of course, but I am back to my varnishing course, so stay tuned for update very soon. So with this painting, my goal was to create the effect of glow, of shine that comes from the main flow and make it more 3D. And I have to say, it worked amazingly. I am beyond happy with my outcome, really proud of this one. And this minimal color palette is just fantastic. So sometimes less is more, and this is another reminder for myself to continue exploring the minimal color palettes. Tell me, what do you think about my outcome? Do you ever work with this type of minimal or more neutral color palettes? And would you like to see more? As always, I would love to hear from you, and make sure to check out those articles about extraordinary supplies, the consistency cheat sheet and masterclass, and of course, acrylic pouring calculator. Yes, I have a lot to check out for you today. All the links will be in the description below, as well as in the first pinned comment. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, create with passion, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!